So I want to introduce our next guest. If you watch the show, you've seen her before. Miyah Sundermeyer is a research and project assistant at the Center for Leadership and Disability at the School of Public Health at Georgia State University. That is where she received her bachelor's degree in psychology in 2020. And she has been pursuing her graduate degree, and I don't know where she is on that. I'm going to let her tell us, but she has her own podcast that's Hello World with Miyah Sundermeyer, and she is a wonderful guest always on our show. Miyah, are you there? I don't hear her. Miyah,
yes. Hello?
Oh, hi. Now I hear you. Very faintly.
Cool. Yes, I've been listening the whole time.
How are you? If I'd known you were there earlier, I would have brought you in earlier. Sorry.
No.
But so excited to have you with us. How are you doing?
Oh, very good. But I need to change my bio.
Oh.
I'm not a research. I can't say I'm a research or project assistant because I just got my bachelor's degree. I couldn't say research assistant officially until I have a master's degree at least.
I see. That was my bad, not yours. I apologize.
No, I need to edit that. So right now I'm on I do help out with some projects, but the big thing now is I help cover the front desk at the Center for Leadership and Disability, but I am helping out with one big project behind the scenes. A couple of autism related ones.
Yes. Well, I know. I remember when you were getting your degree, you were very instrumental and working on their autism plan, correct?
Yeah. What I did was I helped collect autism resources across the state, and I will still do that if they do that again. Other things I've done is I've helped with, what do you call it? I've helped with, plain language, that kind of a thing.
Ooh,
so
fascinating. Well, we've got a lot that we want to talk about with you because it's still April. And this is a month where people talk about the A's, right? It's some people say Autism Awareness, some people say Autism Action, some people say Autism Acceptance, and I'm wondering which A do you like to identify with?
Well, I like to take middle grounds. For me, I like to raise awareness and acceptance together because they're both important. You have self-awareness and self-acceptance. For one thing, you have to be self-aware of your autistic traits. You have to be self-aware of the fact that you can't read social cues or you have a hard time connecting with other people, that kind of a thing.
Very good. Well, I always love your point of view on everything. But I want to talk a little bit about you. Are you volunteering with Wings for All and taking flight? Is that what's happening?
No. Well, actually, I volunteered for taking flight for a while. And actually, Wings for All used to be a part of, or actually, it used to be Wings for Autism. But eventually ARC, not just ARC Georgia, but ARC in general, which is a disability related organization that does a lot of work in the community. They do a lot of amazing things. And what Wings for Autism, which is now Wings for All, does is it enables individuals who have disability or who identify with intellectual and developmental disabilities to get a chance to take a tour through the airport, and they get a special boarding pass. They practice going through security. They learn about different accommodations that they can get when they travel through an airport. And then what they do is everybody boards a plane, everybody sits down, and then an airline pilot talks. The flight crew talks. And due to security reasons, I cannot say the name of the airline that provided this. But the team behind these tours is wonderful. But as far as taking flight goes, this same flight crew puts on the taking flight, which is a smaller group. They take about 10 or 11 families with them. And what they do is they take that. What they do is they take them on the same tours, except they're smaller. They connect them with an organization called TSA Cares.
Well, I love this idea. Are you somebody who has flown a lot in your life?
Yeah, a lot of my 20s. I mean, I was obsessed with airplanes starting at the age of 11. I had never flown before. And so this was just after I got diagnosed. And this all started one time when my mom went to pick my late aunt up, who I would later go and live with. She became my mentor for a while. But anyway, she lived down here in Atlanta, and this was up in Minneapolis, and this was before the days of 9/11. This was 93. So my big 30-year autism diagnosis anniversary is coming up.
Wow.
So anyway, what happened? So anyway.
But yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. If you needed to say something, I can wait.
No. I was going to say something, and then I realized you had more to say about that, about you flying. So tell us more about that.
So anyway, when I was 11 years old, my mom took us to the airport to pick up my aunt. She's deceased now. I mean, she had a stroke about 4 years ago, and then she died.
I'm sorry. Yeah, it's sad. I miss her. There's some things I wish I could talk to her about. But anyway, when we went to go pick her up at the airport, we watched her plane come in and everything, and we watched people get off the boarding ramps. And at that point, I wanted to get on an airplane really bad, and I kept begging my parents to do it, but they kept talking about how it was just too expensive. And then when I told my aunt, she knew that I was very rambunctious, and she told me, you have to sit for a long time. And so I started, I became hyper-focused on airplanes. I started talking about them all the time. And I started asking people questions. What do you do on an airplane? I mean, I wasn't so much interested in the engineering. I was more interested in the psychological part of it. Like, okay, gee, how do you keep yourself busy on an airplane? And I found out people read on there. Sometimes they have movies on there. And so back then, Jurassic Park was the big thing. And I was also hyper-focused with Jurassic Park. And so I was thinking maybe I fly on an airplane and they played Jurassic Park because I'd seen it in the movie and loved it. So wow. Well, I think this is such a wonderful program, and I'm excited that they include people who identify as being on the spectrum, but I'm glad that they include other people too. I will be honest, I'm somebody who has my fair of sensory issues. I don't qualify for a diagnosis, not trying to say that, but I struggle sometimes with sensory issues, and no place more than at the airport. I see that you went off camera for just a second, but that's fine. Yeah, that's fine. But it's a lot for me. I get very overwhelmed at the airport, and especially sometimes they'll change the rules. That after 9/11, they changed the rules, and I kind of struggled in the airport. My husband has struggled before because you go to one airport and they want you to stand and take your shoes off. You go to the next airport and they're like, "Why are you taking your shoes off?" So you got to be a certain amount of flexibility, and there are all these unknown things. And the TSA, God bless these people, I know that they mean well, but often they just stand there and they yell things out into the crowd. And if you've never heard what they're saying before, I often have to go up and say, "Can you stop yelling and tell me what it is that you're saying? Because I can't understand what they're saying." So yeah. I can only imagine what it is like for a young person or anyone on the autism spectrum who wants to fly someplace and isn't used to all of these things. So I think that this kind of work is really amazing, and I'm glad to hear that you're supportive of it.
Yeah, I spent a lot of time volunteering with this airline once a month, and I used to help make the announcements until the airline put a kibosh on that. Yeah, because they only want members of the airline to get up and speak, and they said I could have connected with the families individually. So they're really strict about that. But one of the good things about traveling is I've learned a lot. Like I learned how to use an organization or through TSA Care. It's an accommodation called Autism, not Autism, TSA Cares, and it's not just for people on the spectrum. It's for anybody with a disability. What TSA Cares can do is you call them 72 hours in advance, and you tell them that you have a medical problem. And what the TSA Cares can do is they can get you through those security checkpoints. And then sometimes they can open up a checkpoint and then work with you or the families individually, and they can escort you to the gates.
Amazing information.
Yeah.
We're saying hello to Nicholas, Neurodivergent Journey. So thrilled that you are here with us.
Hi, Nicholas.
And thank you to Autism Journey with Elijah for giving all that information. It's so much more information than I know. So that's awesome. But I want to go back to talking about Autism Month, Autism Awareness, Autism Acceptance. You've had a lot of things going on, including going to some athletic events. Tell us a little bit about that.
So a former colleague of mine and one of our other networks who works very closely with our center, and they had some connections with the Georgia State University Athletic Department. And Georgia State is where I work and go to school. I got invited to serve the first volleyball, and I got invited to pitch the first to serve the first volleyball. It was at a women's beach volleyball game. That was at the beginning of the month, right after Passover started, and it was so much fun. I shot some vlogs of that on my TikTok account.
That's
and
awesome.
then the week after that, I got invited to throw the first softball at a women's softball game. And then there was another little boy that was with his family, and so he was 3 or 4 years old, and so I don't know if he was nonverbal or not, but both of us got to throw the first softball, and then I stayed and watched both of the games. But I really would have loved to have played with them, because I felt like it would have been more fun, and it would have been more inclusive. But I got to stand on the field for the national anthem, which for the softball game, which was epic.
That's amazing. Now, are you somebody who plays volleyball and softball in your life?
No, not really. I mean, I watch actually, I'm finding out that I like sports more than I think. I'm a big basketball fan. I mean, I don't follow all the statistics, but it's just something about watching basketball that's just really soothing. Every year I go to all of our university basketball games. What they have, they didn't do as well this year, because they just got a new coach and, all that. But what they're doing with the basketball coaching is they hired a new basketball coach, and so he's retraining the players.
Is this a women's team or a men's team?
It's both.
Oh, interesting. I didn't realize, I just the other day found out, I used to love the Harlem Globetrotters, and I didn't realize that there are female Harlem Globetrotters now. I'm so excited, I can't wait to go see them. But I understand that you have found another reason to wear blue in April. My interest is piqued. What's this new reason?
So the reason is not to raise autism awareness and acceptance. Again, the reason why I decided to wear blue in April is because Georgia State University's spirit colors are blue and white. And so I have a reason to wear it without the puzzle piece. And instead of a puzzle piece or an infinity symbol, I have a picture of I had a picture of a panther, which is our school mascot.
Wonderful, wonderful. I love that. So I mentioned that you were studying to get your master's. Are you still on that track, or have you taken some time off?
I took a couple of years off, but I graduated at the end of 2020 with my bachelor's.
Yes.
I mean, when I was recording my podcast, I was hoping Temple was going to say congratulations, that we were getting ready. I mean, when I first did a podcast with her, I told her, and she goes, "Oh, good." I thought Temple was going to say congratulations.
Well, you probably could tell her that you'd really like to have her say congratulations, and she probably would do that for you. I know that she really enjoys you and what you're doing.
Yeah, she's a really nice person. Have you had her on the show yet this month?
Well, we had her on during the podcast-a-thon. She did her own hour during the podcast-a-thon where she answered questions, and that was really fun. But now that things are back open, she's back out on the road a lot and working a lot, and between teaching and being on the road, she's busy a lot.
Yeah. I can't. I've been. I know she's still doing her webinars too, but I'm waiting for Future Horizons to have because I blog for Future Horizons, and I haven't done that in a minute. And like I said, I would really like to start writing a book with them since I have those connections. Yeah. But I really need to get back. I'm really waiting for Temple to get back.
Yeah. Well, they're starting to heat up and do some things. I didn't realize that you vlog for Future Horizons.
Yeah, I do. I haven't done that in a minute, but yeah, I have. I've written blogs about their books, and I've written blogs about
I
their
have a book with them.
Say what?
I have a book with them. Did you know that my book is with Future Horizons?
No.
Well, hello. So if I send you a book, will you review my book?
Oh, sure, that'd be great. And then I would have to talk to the person over there. I mean, there's been a lot of changing of the guards with different people. So,
yes, but they're wonderful.
It's like I get distracted. I just got an email from somebody.
That can be very distracting. But are you good? Are you have an emergency? Do you need to go? We've only got a couple minutes.
No, it's not an emergency. It was just because I'm covering the front desk, and then I'm doing this podcast right now. Yeah. So, but
all right. Well, tell us if you have to go because your job is important. So we've got just a couple of minutes left. Is there anything else that you want to share with our audience? Because I enjoy your point of view on a lot of different things. And we don't have to agree about everything, which I love that about friends, right? But are there things that you would like the audience to know, especially in April? Okay.
So first of all, one of the things that I keep running into with acceptance and inclusion is that I'm finding that a lot of people, really misunderstand autism as a whole. Yeah. They don't know how to approach us. They think automatically that because we're autistic, we're going to be heavily passionate about a subject, and so they think that we're automatically going to get upset over this or that. And I mean, I've known people who have worked for employers that have refused to cross-train these individuals on the spectrum, in a job and letting them move up into more things. And see, that's a problem, right? That's a big problem. And I'm noticing that more and more. And honestly, I don't think people realize that that's a form of discrimination. Absolutely. And then a second one that bugs me, it really bugs me, is the fact that you have people, it bugs me that you have people, if you have people in common set, you have people on the spectrum, and yes, social skills are very important. And I think, social skills are important for things like making friends and connecting with people. Well, what I'm noticing with these allistics is that they're the same ones that are telling us we need to do this or that, but yet, I feel like these allistics don't have poor social skills with us, by like leaving us out of get-togethers and leaving us out of conversations and changing subjects and talking about things that we're hyper focused on, and then talking to us, and then talking like we don't matter. Like they talk to everyone else like they're excited, and then the individual on the spectrum tries to connect, and it's, oh, cool, or they say things like, they just make assumptions about us, or give us knuckle bumps. See, I don't like that. I don't like that. We autistics are required to do all the work, you know, and yet, you know, the neurotypicals, I feel like they're not making an effort either. They're expecting us to make the effort. And well, we try to make the effort, but yet they still fail to include us. Yeah. They still fail to communicate with us. And it's like, I feel like the holistic community has poor social skills towards people who are different, you know?
I absolutely, I not only agree, I treasure that in my life, I have friends who have pointed it out when my behavior has been what you're describing. I want you to know that I am not a perfect person. I'm never going to be a perfect person, but I'm constantly working on being a better ally, being a better advocate, because this community matters very much to me. How could it not? I have a son that identifies as being neurodiverse, so of course, but I have friends too and other family members. So this community is important to me. But it would be really wrong of me to assume that I get it right all the time. And I love when Alex Blank is probably the biggest person in my life who frequently will say, I will say something, and he will say to me, Shannon, did you just hear that come out of your mouth? That is so ableist, what you just said. And I literally will be surprised and go, is it? And then I have to go back and think it through, and I'll realize that he's right. And I appreciate having a friend who cares enough to tell me when I've said something that I need to rethink, that it's like old stinking thinking. Because I gotta be honest with you, I don't always know. I don't always notice. And it's not because I don't want to, it's because I don't know how it's ingrained or how I've been raised or because I'm a certain age, I don't know. But do you think that that's really key, is like lovingly pointing out to someone, not, I'm sure that I wouldn't like it if somebody was yelling at me saying it, but Alex will just say to me, Shannon, what you just said was ableist. I'm horrified when he says that. I'm horrified. But I'm so thrilled that he feels empowered to say that to me and that I have the ability to then change. Do you do that in your life? Do you tell
sometimes
people when
I have. I'm pretty blunt. Like I've had people try to give me knuckle bumps, and I would say things like, "Hey, I'm not a child," and then I've had other people tell me, Maya, you're being rude. And so I've had that. So I think it depends how you say it, because I'm a very blunt person and I do come across as a little harsh. I think so. That's my biggest struggle right there. And then another one that I've done with people, like they talk to me like I don't know anything. And, like they say, like one time 3 years ago, just before the pandemic, I went to a talk, and the director of this one autism organization, I don't know if she's there anymore. She said, she was trying to remind me not to have food in the auditorium. And, she was also just sort of bossing me around and assuming I didn't know anything. And so I finally told her, I get it. I'm not dumb. And she said, I didn't say that. I didn't say you were. And she just got so defensive. She got so defensive and pouty. I did not know I was hurting your feelings. And then she just walked away.
Wow.
So I think it's clear. I think it's clear that I hurt her feelings by being honest,
Well, going back to the example of me and Alex, I won't say that I'm thrilled when Alex points out, because I want to be somebody who's not ableist. I don't want to be somebody who's ableist, but that doesn't mean that sometimes I'm not. And when Alex points it out, it's not a good feeling. But I always grow as a result of it, and that is a good feeling. And I do think that we all have to humble ourselves enough to realize, hey, I don't know everything. I can't possibly know everything. And my intentions are never to hurt someone, but if I do, then I should feel fortunate if a friend points it out.
Okay.
And I do feel fortunate. And I'm sorry that woman reacted that way to you saying that to her, but I'm glad that you advocated for yourself. And I hope that later she realized maybe that the way she was speaking to you was not appropriate.
Yeah. See, yeah, there are a lot of people that even at work, I mean, I can't say anything else. They talk down, they tend to talk down to me like I'm stupid, and because it's a competitive environment. Because the big one is because I just have my bachelor's. I haven't even applied to grad school yet, but I'm in the process. To get going on that again because I don't mind covering the desk. I mean, it's just nice and laid back out here, but I came here to Georgia State to get an education and and get into a field where get into a field where I like an autism research field or in some sort of counseling position, so that I would have a voice at the table.
Yes.
Because it's not there are not enough people on the spectrum in mental health or psychology type fields.
I agree.
And it's like right now, I feel like, sure that field is diversified one way, but people on the spectrum, are also a form of diversity. And so, one of the things I'm pushing for, is nothing about us without us. And, because we need researchers on the spectrum that are good at math and people on the spectrum that know how to work as a counselor, and they're trained up in those areas.
Yep.
Who can work with these families and
Yep.
see. Right now, we just have people who are allistic that work in these positions, and we need more of it.
Yep. Yes, and I think that you're going to be somebody who is going to make a big difference in all of that. So I enjoy talking with you, and I'm so glad that we found a time for you to join us in April.
Mm-hmm.
And have you done any new episodes of your podcast?
Well, I'm taking a break from the podcast right now.
Okay.
I am thinking about doing a fundraiser so that I can get the Supreme version, and then that way I can reach out and then have people donate $1. But the other big one was I just couldn't find any other guests to be on the show. Everybody was just super busy all the time. Like I wanted to talk to a podcast host who is from a grieving podcast. I wanted to talk to Dr. Puff, but they were just busy. I mean, everybody I wanted to speak to just didn't have the time. And so, and then me,
You've been busy
I just didn't feel like I ran out of ideas. But the podcasts are still up. I definitely want to go back. But
okay. Well, I look forward to it when you do. I'm happy to be a guest, but I don't know if you want me to be on. But I'm happy to be a guest always. And and we just appreciate. I do want to say that you've been really busy too, because we asked you if you wanted to participate in the podcast-a-thon, but it wasn't good timing for you, which was fine. Which is why we made sure that we had you on today. But,
because number one, it was in the middle of the night. Number two, I keep Passover, and so on the first day of Passover, I do not pray. The first day of Passover, I do not work.
Yep.
So I don't do anything. I don't work on the Sabbath. I don't do any. I hardly record any vlogs or podcasts when it's on the Sabbath. So,
but maybe the next time. Next time we'll know, and we won't have it during the podcast during the podcast during a. We're not going to do 44 hours ever again. Let's start. No rumors about that. We're never doing that again. I'm too old. But one time
I bet you were exhausted.
I was exhausted. I'm still exhausted. It's 2 weeks later. I'm still exhausted. But maybe we'll do something in the future, but we'll make sure that it's not during Passover. I thank you so much. I applaud all the work that you're doing, and thank you for joining us.
Thank you much.